All right, so let's just talk about business one. The business one is the first one here we're going to dig into is like how is business different for me today versus, let's say, when I was in that area where I needed to earn?
What was it like back a couple of years ago, Charlie?
I think I had a like feed the machine mentality, like anything that was like, and I used to think of it like the sausage factory. So it's like if there was the ability to make money, I would say yes to things. Where today, I will say no to anything. If it's a person I don't want to work with, I'll just say no. If it's a type of work I don't want to do, I just say no. If it's going to impact my lifestyle in a way I won't enjoy, I'll just say no.
Yeah. Do you also see it from a business perspective? Like if the business model is not scalable enough, if it doesn't sort of go, like if it's a business model that forces you to come into the business and operate things that you don't want to do, even though it could be a good opportunity, you'll also say no. Like there are so many more mechanisms that you're looking at, which is not just the game of profitability, which is what most business owners are probably listening to this going, oh, but it's profitable. And you're like, yeah, but I don't want to do that type of work. Like that's not enjoyable to me. Like that is not the type of business I want to operate.
I'll give you some examples, right? So I actually mentor a few guys, not many, just a few guys, because I think if I mentored a lot of people, it would burn me out. It's very like high impact, not high, it is high impact, but it's very like, it would be draining work for me to get on calls every day and coach people for 8 hours a day. I think that's a very heavy work. Completely. And for the people that can do it and it suits them, best of luck to you. But for me, it isn't. Where I actually mentor a few guys because it gives me fulfillment. I love passing on the things I've learned in business and then seeing them succeed with it. Like it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. But I don't want to do that 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday. Like that would not be awesome. And and I like that I can be there for those guys. Or if if they call me and they need something, I'm not so busy doing something else that I can't have that call. So it's like I get to very much choose the things I take on in business. And why I use that example is it's not scalable or leverageable or a good business model for me. I can clearly make more money in other areas, but I just found it actually makes my life better. Like I enjoy being able to have that giving back mentality in business in a way.
Yeah. One big thing for myself, and obviously this comes with not having that financial pressure, is the way that I look at sort of the risk that I take on in businesses, right? Where I look at it more of a risk against myself and what my capabilities are of, as opposed to sort of what you were mentioning previously around the risk of what's the impact to employees, what's the impact to my family, what's the impact to all of these other things, because wealth already comes into the family. There are all of these other things that are there where I'm like, now the risk can be completely on in business where I'm like, if it burns or it doesn't work, there's no problems at all. Like it's like, well, I just go and start again, right? Or I go and step into a completely different thing. The concept of being from that, I have to do this sale to pay for rent. I have to do this sale to pay for school fees. I have to do this sale from those things are covered. Now I get to do these things and I get to choose the risk that I play, because if it burns to the ground, no one's going to sort of kneecap me. Hazel's not going to come through and be like, oh, where's the money? Because I'm like, the money's already there. Like it's still there. It's still getting produced. It's still doing all these things, which means I could be completely risk on and it's not going to impact my home life. It's not going to put unnecessary pressure on me, but it's a challenge that I might want to do.
Do you know what's interesting in this? This is one of the things I noticed. When I used to take on projects that I knew were going to be hard, or it wasn't the right client, or we weren't set up for it, or whatever it was, but just knew it wasn't something good to take on, I was doing it for the money. It used to cause carnage and probably wasn't as profitable as it could have been. So what's fascinating is since I don't take those things on and only take on things that, like I've got room to take on good clients I want to work with or good projects I want to work with, they're actually way more profitable.
It was
so it's like it's a cruelty.
It was one of the points that I was going to cover off at the end as we sort of run through these bullet points was like the flywheel. Like inadvertently, it actually creates better outcomes, better profitability. And it was one of these sort of awarenesses that I have of like coming in from behind, right? So in business, it's like as you're potentially starting out or as you have this I need to mentality, like you're always playing behind everybody else, where everyone else who's just coming at it from an abundance perspective, look, they can think clearer. They can play this game where they're looking at the business with a complete mental clarity. Like I know you and I speak a lot about business models and what we're going to be executing next, and we test a lot of different things, and we test it with team. We put our own money in because we said, well, if it's not scalable outside of you and I, why would we do it? Right? Because then it's just pulling us into a job. And so every time we look at something, it's like, well, how can we play this long game where it's not us grinding Monday to Sunday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and putting pressure on family and stuff like that. It's like, how can we do this thing so it's sustainable, it's enjoyable, it's scalable, it produces what it should be producing as a profitable business. So
I completely agree with that. The long game mentality is so strong. Like you no longer, and I notice this in myself hugely, it's when you no longer need to make money in the month, you no longer are thinking from that frame.
Yes.
Like I'm completely and this podcast is the best example. Like I'm like, what could full stack be in 5 years? Where the old version of me that was in that grind and suffering is like just thinking about, well, how do I get my monthly recurring revenue up? That's like literally all I used to think about.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into being a full stack business owner, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.